Okay, this is Jeremiah with Shop on Fire. We want to welcome everyone today to our webinar designed specifically for PSA members, but also other dealers around the country, appliance service repair, HVAC, plumbing, electrical. We'll be jumping in as well. The purpose of the webinar today is to talk about things that we can be doing as dealers to not just get through COVID-19 with our customers, but to also literally gain more market share, dominate more, and make the most of right now, because the idea is the things that you're doing right now, a bunch of your competitors are just sitting around not knowing what to do. A lot of them are getting itchy and they want to do something, but they're not really sure what. What we want to talk about is all the things that you can be doing right now to make the most of everything and to really get rolling so that when this does turn, which it will soon, you're going to be totally and completely so far ahead of your market share and so far ahead of your competitors, because they're all sitting around, right? They're all just sitting around trying to figure it out, right? And you're going to be taking these actions, some things we'll be talking about today, to not only make the most of it, but when it turns, be ahead and dominate of market share. So actually gaining more. And because they're sitting around not doing anything, your competitors, you'll be able to get so far ahead of them than you normally would, because in a normal business market, everyone's just competing and it's like inches and inches and like a horse nose, like wins. But now while they're sitting around and you're doing all this stuff, you're going to be so far ahead when the market turns back around that it'll be super awesome and super exciting. So that's what we're going to focus on. I want to introduce our co-host today, Bill Cummins. He's the owner of Appliance Master in New Jersey. And we've been collaborating together for a long time, but especially during COVID-19 on things that you can do, actions that you can take. And he's doing it real live, in-house, out of house, making it happen. And so we're going to have him talk about what he's doing, what he's learning, what he's found in taking massive action. If any of you know Bill, most of you probably do, he's not one to just sit around and do nothing. Like, this guy is on it, and he's on it every single day. And even when it doesn't look like he's on, he's still on it because he's still taking action. So, Bill, if you want to go ahead and say hi, and let's get rolling here.
Well, hello, everybody. I don't know. I'm assuming everybody can hear Jeremiah and hear myself, because it's my first time with this large of a Zoom group. But anyway, Jeremiah's correct. Like, we've been I guess we're all in different circumstances. We have different companies. We're different people. We are in different health situations. Our families are different. Our businesses are unique. And I guess even our state and local rules might be different circumstances. And I guess I'm not here to tell anybody what to do, or, I just want to maybe share what we've done. But I think in general, we've been pretty aggressive with, in fact, March was actually up in sales over last March. So April's a different story. It looks like the jury's still out for April, but we've been hitting it with everything we've got. And hopefully we can have some questions so we can get some value out of today's discussion.
And so
that's all I have to Jeremiah.
Yeah. So for those that are participating, everyone else on here, we ask that you put questions, if you have them, as they come up in the question field on your chat. There's a chat box on the right-hand side typically. And you can put your questions in there, and we'll get to them as we get to them and answer them. And but along the way, whether you're asking questions or not, if something comes up, just go ahead and type it in. Along the way, we're just going to talk about what we're doing, what we're seeing work, what we're seeing not work, and what we've learned so far as we've collaborated together and come up with ways to take massive action and really get more market share during this time. And I want everyone to know that I am absolutely 100% confident that what you do, especially during trials or challenges, is 100% what you're going to get later on, right? And it's always down to those that take action, those that keep going, those that keep getting up. But trials can bring out the best of you, or they can bring out the worst of you, right? And you see that all around. People are assets or liabilities right now. You can see who the liabilities are in your world and you can see who the assets are in your world. And so we want to talk about how to be an asset, how to create massive value for your employees, for your customers. If some of your team is not responding to you or like finding ways to not come in, like what to do. We've been through that too, right? How to get them back into the office. And then what to do with the people that are going out to the businesses. So Bill, if you want to just talk a little bit about what you guys are doing with your customers, what you're seeing. Bill's even like recruiting right now. They're even looking for great techs during this time because some of the other owners out there are not doing anything, are not taking care of their employees. And so some of their best techs are like actually looking elsewhere, and it's not necessarily where we're trying to steal techs from other people, but if your chief complaint, even with a technician, is like, there's no good people, well, in my area, well, there always are good people in the area. They're just working for someone else, right? And so the idea here is to bring a powerful message and a powerful plan of action. But really what we also want to talk about is what we're doing right now and how we're gaining market share, Bill. So if you want to talk about some of those points, I know you wrote down some others as well. Let's just jump into things, and then as questions arise, we can kind of address them as we go along.
Jeremiah, can you see questions? But I mean, as of right now, I haven't seen anything in the chat box, just to let you know.
Okay.
So, and when it comes to recruiting in general, this is a good time of year because, I mean, there's layoffs in other industries and people are slow. And I've had very limited or success with hiring people with appliance service experience. It seems like good technicians are gold, and they're not out there. In my experience, who is out there are the people. I just hired somebody that worked for a lawn service, and I forget the name. It's one of those national franchises. He's been there for 4 or 5 years, and he works with customers, charges customers, did quotes, fixed equipment, and the guy was great. And the guy's been with us for like 2 months, and we have, I don't think you can tell from behind me, we have some of our own internal training that we advertise, but people like that are out there looking for work, and that's who I'm targeting, not necessarily anyone in the industry. I don't need anyone else's headaches. That seems to be what you find drifting from company to company. But with recruiting, we're what we do a lot of too. Yeah, you can go to Indeed or ZipRecruiter and find people that way. That's it's kind of it's hit or miss. You'll find people, but how we found what we do every week is we do Facebook Live. And we even run ads under Facebook and Instagram telling people that we're recruiting. We've gotten leads that way. And I suggest you could do this if you have Facebook accounts. You just do a live video, set a certain time every week, keep it 2-5 minutes, and have a weekly message. Like behind me is just some backgrounds we have. They're fairly inexpensive. They're, so we don't have to look at a dirty shop or, because most shops aren't that pleasant. So we can have some more branding on there, so people become familiar with our customers locally. We're trying to really just build our brand name. And so the Facebook Live every week, Facebook ads, we get a lot of people. We even have an internal program where we pay our employees for referrals. We'll pay them a $500 fee if the person works here for 30 days. So that's some of what we do with recruiting. And like I said, we're kind of hitting it hard right now. And in May, as soon as we get the okay from the state, we're going to have another recruiting event or hiring event. We, rather than interview one person at a time, 1 and 2s like that, we'll have 3, 4, 5, maybe as much. We've had as many as 10 people in the room just coming for an interview. They show some interest. So this way I have a couple techs there, a couple office people. I have a little film we show them, and we talk to them for about an hour and a half, and then we find we've had success finding the people that way, see how they interact in a group. So that's something that actually Jeremiah's helped me work with, and it's worked out pretty well in the past.
Awesome. So thanks for sharing that, Bill. So right now, basically what we're telling you is now's as good a time as any to recruit. And keep in mind that you, as I mentioned earlier, and I'll just share this again, most owners are not doing a great job at keeping their workforce happy right now, right? And so it's really powerful for you to really make sure to reach out to your community, reach out to your Facebook group or social media groups, do Facebook Lives, like let people know that you're hiring and that you're looking for great people. And even if you don't have the ability to actually pay a new employee right now, that's not the idea. The idea is to build a hit list of people that you can find and have on a list to hire and bring in at any time, not just right now. And so you want to have that list ahead of time and build and develop and hone in. You may have certain people that you want to work for you. You can start going after them in particular. And then remember, another idea is specifically, there's nothing wrong with bringing people back that used to work for you. So they used to work for you, it didn't work out, maybe they didn't work out, maybe you didn't work out, maybe neither of you worked out, or something else took them to another job or away from the company. Well, some other company, they've learned their lessons now with someone else paying them, right? You didn't have to pay them while they learned their lessons. They went somewhere else and came back. So Bill, could you just talk a little bit about your experience with having someone work for you and then not work for you? Maybe talk about how they left or whatever, and then what you did to bring them back and how it's turned out.
This is one of those things that you learn later in life. It's, when you're young and have a young company and somebody like quits in the middle of June and, you're backed up with work and your first reaction is to like throw a tantrum because they give you like a 3-day notice. Like that's the wrong way to do it. It's like you always want to maintain, like you want to build bridges and you want to keep those pathways open because people might go for, they're overpromised things by other employers, and it's simply not true. And at the very least, I've had people that have left that have recommended not only employees, but customers back to us. So, don't burn any bridges. That's a good life lesson. That took me way too long to learn. The other thing I want to mention, Jeremiah, is if you have a relationship with like a state of New Jersey, the Department of Labor, they have hiring events, which haven't been successful getting people from the hiring events. But what we have been is they do offer training reimbursement for people that have been on unemployment for a while. And so with the last probably 3 trainees we've had, they've reimbursed us like 50% up to their first, I believe 6 weeks. That money coming in from the state really helps. And so that kind of relationship is valuable as well.
Awesome. And without sharing any names or anything like that, you had an employee leave on social terms, and then they came back. What's that experience been like? How did you get them back in there? You don't have to go into details of name or anything, but just and what are they? What's their value now?
Well, like most, pretty much all the employees, the technicians we have now, this person came to us with no experience in the field. And, he had some basic technical experience in other areas that and he also was new to the area. He was new to the area, didn't have any prospects or family. So we took him in. We trained him. We sent him to some of the seminars, some of the training, and he was a fast learner, great with customers, and he worked for us for a couple of years. But he always wanted to get into HVAC. That was like, I don't know. That seems to be the golden ring everybody reaches for. They think it's like the the big money, the big fame, or whatever. So he, after a couple of years, he wanted to pursue that. So he went to a company that did HVAC, and then so he worked with them for 5 years, under the assumption that, he'd get training and, get his license and be certified. But he, that didn't quite work out for him. And we all, he actually, I would keep in touch every now and again. And so when that other company wasn't working out, after a few years, he's just came back to us, and it was like perfect timing. He started back right before Christmas, and it was great. It was a godsend. It's like, so, and I know even the entire time that he was with the other company, that he would send us customers and would refer other technicians looking for work to us as well.
Awesome. And guys, just so everyone's aware, guys and gals, we have both on the call. This isn't just about recruiting. We're going to hit on all the areas that you can do as a dealer right now, specifically during COVID-19, to dominate your marketplace. So we're going to cover all of that. And if you have, when you open the Zoom, at the bottom, you got security, chat, share screen, stuff like that. You just click on chat, and then that will bring up the box. Bill, you don't have to worry about that. I'll just manage the questions for you, so you can just speak freely if you want to, but you can look at it if you want to, but I'll take care of that. But we got a lot of people in the car right now. I want to welcome everyone, some really friendly faces. We got Anthony Attanasio. He's doing awesome. His health is so great. So happy for him in his battle, that he went through a serious personal battle. Most of you know that are in the group or know him. He's the appliance doctor. And we're so happy he's on the call. Thank you, Anthony, for being here. And I want to recognize some other people as they jump on as well. But we appreciate everyone out there. Listen, you guys are going through a lot right now, okay? And everyone knows trials suck, painful things suck, but everything happens for a reason. It happens for a purpose, and it happens at the exact right time that you need it to grow. I believe that very strongly. Life happens for you and not to you. And so if you can take serious, awesome action right now, you guys are going to get so much further ahead, guys and gals, that it's unbelievable. I mean, everyone else is sitting around right now. I have 500 or 600 people that we're working with, somewhere along the lines, 550 something. And most people are not taking any action right now. So this call isn't just about recruiting. We're going to hit on a lot of different things. This is about all the different things that you can be doing right now. And again, there's at the bottom of the Zoom, there's a chat. You can click on that. You can type your questions in there. We'll answer them as we go. Bill, if you want to talk about now what you guys did with sanitation, for your technicians, what you're doing to make it safer for people as you're going out to their homes, because right now, especially if you're an appliance, like this is gold. Everyone has to be at home. Yeah. They all need appliances working really great right now, right? And so this is the time more than ever to really hit home and make sure to get out there. And all of you have customers that you went out to their home and they said, oh, we got our washer fixed by these guys. And you're going, Mrs. Jones, you've used us for 10 years. We do the washers. How come you didn't call us for the washers? And she says, oh, I didn't know you guys did that. I thought you guys just did the, the refrigerator. Or I thought you guys just did the stove. And it's like, man, how did that happen? How did they know we didn't do all the appliances? How did they not think of us for all those things? And so you can solidify that right now too with your customers. Reach out to them. But Bill, if you could kind of talk about what you did with your techs, what you equipped them with, that would be great.
Well, all the things we did with our techs, we also put on social media like 3 times a week. We put it, we put it out on Facebook, Instagram, and I have somebody that puts it out on the others that I'm really not good at. But the first thing we started out with was to have technicians create a hand washing station inside their service vehicle. Like they'd have water, paper towels, soap, and I would supply them with, with everything they needed except the water, of course. We give them face masks, disinfectant spray. I bought a concentrate so you can mix up spray bottles. Give them paper towels. They have shoe coverings, rubber gloves, and we remind customers too that we're open and our technicians take that. In fact, we I just had on Facebook today. I had I don't know if you see this, but here's one of our techs that a customer took. One of our techs, he's moving a refrigerator, masked up, gloved up, and and we honestly, our surveys come back. We're getting a lot of surveys that customers really appreciate it. And we're also we tell them to maintain a distance. We have the customers, kind of prepare an area before. I don't need technicians putting themselves in danger, like emptying laundry, like wet laundry out of a washer, doing things like that. We try to keep that to a minimum. And our technicians, we give them flexibility if they feel unsafe or it's not clean or someone's sick to not go. And it's as simple as that. And we ask our customers the same too. If they're not sick or someone in the house is sick, that see if we can put it off somehow. But I don't know. Did I cover all the bases? We're
yeah. So one of the things Bill kind of emphasized was it's important to give your techs all the equipment that they need, the sanitizer, the mask, the gloves, and all that stuff. but actually you also need to instruct them on how to use it properly. Right? Nobody's used to doing this stuff. And if they show up and they're not, I mean, all of you have seen the gaffes and stuff going on. Like you'll see, turn on the news and you'll see some center or something talking about how important it is. And then they'll pull their mask down and turn the page and lick their fingers, you know,
Yeah.
and they're literally breaking the protocol of doing it, you know, right in front of everyone on national TV. So Bill, can you kind of talk about what you did with the text just to instruct them and show them how to properly use everything so that they're actually doing it the way they're supposed to? Because if you're all gloved up and masked up and everything, and you start doing all the things that are, you may as well not have worn them, like that's going to be a problem, right? So that they need to properly do that. So if you want to talk about that as well, that'd be awesome.
That's the thing going into this. No one knew the extent, like every day, it was a lot of surprises. We haven't been through this before. So, who's familiar with why you wear a mask, how you wear a mask, how you put it on. So it kind of happened, we would have, like, we're kind of close here. We have discussions, it's really pretty simple. Like, you don't take your mask off, put it down. Like we have both disposables and cloth ones. So you have to learn that good hygiene. Just putting gloves on doesn't protect you. I mean, if you're wearing gloves, you have to wash your gloves if you're going to keep them on all day. You can't, one of the people in our office over here was saying she was at a grocery store and the person had a mask and gloves on, their phone rang. So they pulled their mask down. He bit his glove off with his hand and talked on the phone. So it's like, even if you know these things, you have to practice to use them properly. And I think it was just early on discussing it with people. And even if even washing your hands, it's like, even if it seems excessive, the fact that even for show of the customer, like put on a good show, it's like being a tech in general. You always have to put on a good show. So the same, that just carries on with the mask and gloves. And, a lot of guys don't wear gloves, but it's not, that's a personal preference. One thing we also, with the customers too, we said, you don't even have to be in the room with the customer, with the technician. If you want to call him on your cell phone, well, I'm calling you when he's outside, and you can stay in a different room or really keep your distance. And then people can just pay by reading their credit cards to us rather than like actually transferring. So, we try to make technicians and the customers like really comfortable. And I don't know if I got off track there, but that's some of the things we're already talked there earlier. So.
No, this is great. And then I believe you mentioned it, but if let's just say it one more time, you gave your tech some veto power.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Like we always give them that. If you're going to go to somebody you're really unsafe or it's really scary, but now it's like that, that's broadened considerably. If somebody's just in the next room coughing up a lung, you want to be, you're going home to like little children and your wife, you got to take care of yourself as well.
Yeah. So the idea here, everyone, is like being able to, train your technicians on being smart and intelligent and stuff, but give them veto power. So if they go to a situation, we mentioned a little bit earlier, but I just want to reemphasize this. If they go into a situation where they don't feel safe, like they need to have the ability to veto it and say, hey guys, I don't feel safe here, and be able to walk away from the job. Like, we don't want to do that often. And if it's happened regularly, obviously is a problem. But you want to be able to have the technicians feel happy and safe coming into work. And most of them have spouses, right? So the spouses need to feel safe too. And that's been a challenge. I think Bill has got, without mentioning any names or not, like he's got one technician in particular that's been there quite a while. That's her spouse isn't feeling safe, right?
Yeah.
You want to mention that a little bit? I know it's a little bit of an uncomfortable subject, but other people might be going through the same thing.
Well, you try to have a real conversation. Like, I guess if someone is frightened, it's like, so what's your plan? Like, what's your plan? Are you going to stay home indefinitely? These are things everybody has to make decisions about. Are you going to, I know in New Jersey, it's, we're an essential business and we need everyone here. We're not firing anybody. So or laying anybody off. So when it comes down to it, they can't collect unemployment if they just want to stay home. And that's one of these, some people say like, I don't feel safe going to work, I'm going to collect unemployment, but it's like, you can't. And it's like, we try to make every kind of accommodation for whatever, for each for individual. Like, I'm going to say 7 of our 10 techs were like, they're smart, they're savvy, they're just avoid. And no, I don't know, I got to find some wood to knock right here on my chair because no one's gotten sick or showed symptoms yet of the people that have been in. I've had, there were 3 technicians that showed some trepidations that took some time off. One guy, he took 2 or 3 weeks off, and they start to realize, like, this might go on all summer. I might go on for a year. I can't not work ever again. So we have to make accommodations for that person. And then the other, just like we make decisions as business owners, they have to make decisions personally. And we applied for, we've got our PPP money, but it's like, that money is supposed to pay for the lack of revenue, but you can't pay somebody who doesn't show up to work. They've got to put some hours in. So even if like now's the season, at least maybe we can schedule some grills or outdoor things or things that he's not around people. We'll work with technicians and customers, but you have to show up for work to get paid anything. Is that too harsh?
I see that cash crisis guide. Thank you for sharing that. He's holding up some money. So right now, folks, what we're talking about is if you have a technician who hasn't come into work at all since this thing started, and most people might say, hey, just fire them, but they could have been there a while and they know your system really well and they're actually a really good technician. And then the challenge has kind of been, particularly with this, is the spouse makes, Bill, are you okay if I share just a little detail with,
Sure.
Okay.
I'm sure it's not that uncommon.
Yeah. So the spouse makes as much or more, probably more than the technician does as the husband, which you see that. That's pretty common, here and there. It's not new to anyone, probably. You all know somebody where one spouse makes more than the other. And so she's kind of like, hey, you be Mr. Mom, you stay at home, you take care of the kids, because we're saving money doing that instead of paying daycare, babysitters, all this other stuff. And we're actually maybe coming out more ahead if I just do the work and then you stay home. And the challenge is like the wife isn't signing off on the technician coming back into work, so the technician's just not coming back into work. And they're almost in a situation where what do you do, right? Do you just get rid of them? Do you fire them? I mean, it's a situation where there's a bunch of kids, so they're worried about it. And you have some people that are super overreacting, not reacting, super passive. You got all kinds of stuff going on. You see people breaking all the rules. You see people keeping all the rules. You see people getting angry at each other. There's all this different stuff. But what do you do in a situation like that, right? And then Bill actually had a technician that wasn't coming in and wasn't taking care of stuff. And then he was able to get the technician to come back out. Bill, do you want to mention what you did to get the technician to come back into work?
Well, I mean, I basically was just like tried to understand the thought process with them or at home. It's like, so what's your thought process? What's your plan? And it's dire for everybody. It's not like the government's going to just save you and magic money will come and then this virus will go away and then everything will be back to normal. It's like, we all have to make tough decisions at every level. And, and I feel that it's not where this situation isn't that imminent to where, I still believe that if you're responsible and you're safe and you're clean and your customers are the same, you have the threat level is low. Maybe I'll be wrong, but that's the way I feel right now. And that's what I'm banking on.
Yeah. And what did you do exactly to get the technician to come back in?
Well, I think I explained, I mean, it always comes down to money, where it's like, if the federal government's going to send us money to pay people because we're underemployed, then I'll pay people. But in order for you to get paid, you have to at least come to work. You can't not come in to work you have to participate in the decision-making process and then trying to solve the problem.
So he had a few of these people that were kind of just not coming in, and one of them was just not even answering texts and calls and emails and stuff, which of course in any normal situation is totally unacceptable, right? So it's like, but how do you handle it in a way where you're kind of taking everything into account that's going on, and then ultimately we just need to get them back in So how do we do that? And then also for recruiting ongoing, we can also find a way to replace some of these people, because who shows up and who is present and who is helping during the situation right now versus who disappears is really interesting. And it may be that some of you are now seeing what kind of employees you really have, right? Who's like stepping up and really delivering, and who isn't. We had a comment from Anthony. I'm going to go ahead and unmute him. Anthony, if you're ready, just give a thumbs up. Cool.
Yeah, we're right outside of Manhattan, so we're right in the middle of it, and we had to lay off like 15 people, and we were unfortunate right now to get any of the PPP money as of this time, although we do have an application in for this second round. But, what concerns me is the way the government has given the techs, besides the unemployment, now the federal government's giving them $600 on top of that. So that creates problems sometimes. And one tech talks to another tech, and you're working, and the ones that are still working, listen to these guys who are unemployed and making more money, or making the same money as when they were working, and it creates problems. So I was just thinking that at one point I would have to give my people who stayed bonuses. And I'm thinking, is that the way to go with this? Because you have to reward the people that have stayed throughout this whole, especially we have like 4 or 5 techs that are still going into Manhattan every day. So, and then we have a few techs in Westchester, which the whole thing started in New York from North Shell. So we're just looking at ways to try to reward them for being, there the whole time. So what do you guys think? And I appreciate these 2 guys doing this for PSA.
Yeah, 100%. Like that's 100%. That's the plan. I think that's, and even I don't know if you can hear me, but even though you can't tell them that, even though, because you don't even know, people say this money is going to be grant money. It's like, you know what? You could go give all this money away that you get and then find out it's a loan. And then, so you kind of have to be judicious in how bonuses is 100%. You have to, for sure, but you just got to be careful on how much you spend. And, so I would appreciate some more feedback, more details from the government on exactly what the requirements are. Because that's another thing you run into. You run into so much misinformation. Everybody you run into the street they have an opinion that they're certain of.
Well, the people I spoke to, who put together my loan, they told me that I was able to spend it on bonuses. Okay. And also, another thing is that like I'm taking the time out now to look at and build an operating manual, you know what I mean? And if I was to hire somebody to build that operating manual, and you don't write the check to a company, but you write the check to an individual, that's just like you bringing on an employee. So if you were to get the PPP, you could pass that kind of experience, that kind of charge onto it, and that would count as an employee. Now, so this is a time for us to hire people, who could help us, go in the right direction and get that operating manual done and stuff like that. Some marketing maybe.
Yeah. So for everyone on the call right now, and everyone that will be hearing it as it's reshared over and over and over, we're going to have thousands and thousands and thousands of people hear this. So right now, the idea is some of the situations may be where technicians are in a situation where by getting the unemployment and by having a spouse possibly working at the same time, and the money that they're saving by the spouse being home, taking care of kids and all this other stuff, they're actually possibly coming out ahead more than if they were even going into work, right? And so it's kind of like, that's maybe for some people, they're motivated by that. I wouldn't be. None of us probably on the call would be motivated by that, but some are. And so how do we deal with that? Additionally, the idea is also being discussed of how do we communicate with our employees? Like, look, the people that show up, the people that keep going, the people that help us through this, we're going to reward you somehow. We're going to create benefits for you somehow. And whether that's, bonus, whether that's pay, whether that's vacation, whether that's some type of ownership in the company, there's all different ways to incentivize, a lot of different ways, even tax advantage ways. And so having something like that in a plan, even if you're telling them, hey, I'm not sure how I'm going to do this yet, but I'm absolutely going to make sure that those that do this and this and this will be rewarded, And so having something, coming up with something and then communicating that to employees is very powerful. And it's not like we're just throwing out a carrot necessarily, but if you've been like this all along, they'll know it's super serious. If you haven't, they'll be like, wow, that's a difference in our owner. And if you've been the opposite and just kind of like, because I know not a ton, but quite a few owners that are just like in it for the money, this is going to be totally foreign to your employees. Something like this, they might be like, yeah, right. So wherever you're at with your employees and how much they trust and believe in you is obviously going to impact what you're sharing. But the idea here is come up with something to let them know that they're appreciative. Anytime that you're digging deeper and going deeper, it has to be more than just, we made it through and I'm going to benefit and that's it. I mean, we need to make sure it's a really great idea, at least, to make sure that they're able to have some type of reward too. And it's different for everybody, but you could have something overall and then you can have something specific with your key players.
Well, and also I think a lot of us pay technicians incentive-based pay. They get an hourly rate, but they also with lower sales, I mean, times are slower. If even though these guys are putting in the same amount of hours or roughly the same, and they're bringing in less money because there's fewer calls, my first plan would be to find a way to augment their pay to bring them up to levels they should be earning. And I guess that's kind of a bonus strategy, but that's what I intend to do going forward.
Do you have something that you've planned out yet, Anthony? Or are you just considering building something?
No, I was thinking of about, a bonus of $2,000 each person that we had like 11 people stay, and I was just thinking that's what come to my mind as far as what I would reward them with. Now, if it could be a one-time thing, or if it would be like 500 every paycheck for the next 4 pay periods, but I would think that. But I'm curious to see when it's time to get some of the other employees back to see if I have any pushback on that, because I guess if I do, then they would be off unemployment, if you report them. But, I want to see what happens. We had a nice staff and, and when people left, they were all upset and they said, we can't wait to come back. But then they started receiving that money. They may feel differently, but, we'll see what happens. But I don't think I'll have a problem with anybody coming back when it's time.
Have you reached out to them recently? Because, I mean, they might have gotten a check or two in the beginning, but I don't know. Like, I know in New Jersey, they're not.
Well, they get checks. I think they're getting the federal on top of the regular state check. They're getting the federal for up to 16 weeks, I think, or 12 to 16 weeks. So they're still getting checks. But I will, I did reach out to them, and they answered me, and I try to keep in touch. 3 times since 6 weeks ago. So, we keep in touch. We want them to know they're part of a family, and that's important,
Do you think if you brought them back, you have the work to give them? Is it like, or is it because?
No, I don't have. We are getting busy since after Easter. We are getting busy, but we were going from like 70 calls down to 25, And there was a few days we had 18 or 19. And so it was really bad, you know,
Yeah.
and the city was really bad. So, but now we're back up to about 35, which is, you know, which I could see maybe bringing in one more tech now and slowly build up to what we were. But, you know, it's a different ball game in New York City than it is all over the country. So I'd like to hear some other people, though, if they have any suggestions or what they're doing, if you guys don't mind.
No, bring it.
Thanks, Anthony.
All right, you're welcome.
So one of the other things I want to talk about, and again, if you want to post, if you click on the chat button on your Zoom app, you can actually ask questions to us, and we'll make sure that they get answered. Anthony's asking for additional comments or questions from other people to know what they're doing. We have a whole bunch of people on the call, so we welcome that. If any of you are worried about me sharing your name as to who asked the question, I won't do it. You know, just say, hey, please don't share my name, and we won't, and we'll just answer the questions no matter who they come from. So if you don't want us to do that, just say that in the question. And I'm the only one seeing the questions right now, so I can manage that well. Another thing I want to talk about is this is a huge question for consumers, right? Because I also get a chance to talk to quite a few of the consumers of you as a dealer. And one of the things that on everyone's mind is, are you even open? And they're probably not driving past your actual shop location to see, and does it indicate that you are, right? Is there a sign, a big sign or something? We're seeing a lot of funny things. Like I passed a pancake house and it said, pancakes are not contagious. Yes, we're open, right? I see another place that said, they had a huge sign that said, you know, first responders get free meal. I'm just talking food right now because I haven't seen anyone else really doing this. I haven't seen anyone throwing up real obvious signs to say we are open and we're fully compliant with all sanitation practices. So, I mean, even getting a big banner thing hanging on the side of your thing or an open sign that's lit up in front of it. I don't know what kind of presence you have. Some of you have shops people can see. Some of it's way back where people don't see. Some of it's right by the freeway. Everyone sees it. But you need to let them know you're open, okay? You have to let them know that. And I would also include something along the lines of that you're 100% compliant with sanitation or something. We're open and we're totally safe, something to indicate that. Bill, what have you been doing to let people know that you're open and your customers know that you're open?
Well, one thing did was we added a page to our website with the COVID-19 saying exactly what you said about we're open, safety precautions, like kind of like, you know, not business as usual, but you know, we're here. And again, we do the Facebook Live every week, and we post to social media like 3 or 4 times a week, and a lot of that message is, you know, so that's the bulk of what we've been doing. But like you said, winning over customers, a lot. I mean, I don't know how many calls a day do we get where people ask if we're open?
A 9 out of it, or I was 9 out of 10, but I would say like 98% of the calls.
I'm just yelling over to.
Hey, are you guys still doing calls? Are you even open?
Any new customers that were, because I'm sure we're getting calls that people for other places that aren't open.
Yeah, I would say that there's been quite a few people that have been pretty far out that are calling. They've been kind of desperate and having a hard time getting people to come out.
So it's a good time to win new customers over too as well. So
yeah, I mean, it sounds so simple, but just think, a lot of you have been surprised by a current or longtime customer that used a competitor to do something that you do. I know that's happened to everybody. And you're like, what? How did you not know we do that? Guys, this is real. People don't know you're open. You have to reach out to them. You've also been using social media too, though, Bill, right?
Yeah, and we do surveys with every service call. We, you know, with our invoice, we email. We have a quick survey, and we've been getting a lot of comments. Like a lot of people appreciate this distance, the social distancing, the call ahead. You know, the all the PPE that we supply to our technicians. You know, so I mean, I think those people, even though there'll be more advocates of ours in the future too. So.
Yeah, and as well as Facebook Lives, don't you do those regularly to let people know you're open as well?
Yeah, just earlier today, look it up, Appliance Master. We do them every Tuesday at 12. That's why I mean, if you have you pick a time every week, a date and time, just a couple of minutes with so yeah, that seems to be working. I'm involved in another business, and we did a similar kind of thing it was a liquor store, and we did we were just telling people the safety precautions we were taking, and we were disinfecting the store and all that stuff, and it got 4,000 views in less than a week. And the things we do typically here will get 1,000 views, 1,500 views in a week, So people, they see, they get the message. It gets out there.
Yeah. I'd also suggest, and I push this really hard, if you've worked with us before or you're working with us now, that I always say, call your past customers. Let them know you're open. Let them know you appreciate them. Just a quick check-in phone call. Hey, Mrs. Jones, how's everything working? Last time we were out there, we checked on the stove. We're able to repair this or that. Like, look them up, find a little detail or some notes on them, and then call them and say, how is everything still working okay? That's a simple segue into, hey, just want to let you know we're open. You could say that, and that could work. But it might be better to just pull open their contact information in your CRM or whatever you're using. Look at what you last did. Doesn't matter if it was a year, doesn't matter if it's 2 years, doesn't matter if it's 5 years. Like, just call your customers and see how they're doing. Is everything okay? Last time we were there and worked on the fridge, is everything still working okay? It isn't? Oh my gosh, let's get it taken care of right now. Or it is? Awesome. Let's make sure it keeps working. Right now, it's more important than ever to not have a breakdown. Rather than have a breakdown and have an emergency again, let's keep that thing running. When can we come out?
Like, I know Anthony does his, you send out to your customers about the Sub-Zero specials and all. Like, we have a newsletter. We send that every, bi-monthly. And so with the newsletter to our customers, we just same message. We're open. We're taking precautions. So I know, Anthony, you probably have that email list handy, or you could do something.
Now, do you send your newsletters to your consumer customers?
Well, yes.
Okay, because what I do is I have about 2,400 superintendents, resident managers in Manhattan, and I send a monthly newsletter to them. I thought about doing it to the customers, but you know what? We have like 25,000, 30,000 customer names. And we have to send that much,
Well, it's an email, so.
Yeah, I'm talking about an actual physical newsletter. What I do is what we do is we have a physical newsletter that goes out once a month to 2,400 super.
That's a lot of work.
It is, but at the same time, we take 2 articles out of that, and that's what we'll send to our regular consumers, because like I said, we have about 25,000 email addresses. So we'll send out a few articles from each monthly newsletter, and we put it to it and send it out to the consumers. So that's what we do in an email blast,
Yeah, and so that's important. It's important to reach out to them. I also highly encourage, because it's different, just calling some of them, right? If you've got reps, and I want to be careful here, because someone that's skilled to take incoming calls usually hates making outgoing calls. The best incoming call takers hate outgoing calls. The best outgoing call takers usually hate incoming calls unless it's someone calling them back that they tried to call. Okay, so having that separate is really crucial to hitting at the highest level. If you look at any major company, the sales team and the customer service team are 2 very different roles. You call into customer service at, let's say, T-Mobile, you're getting transferred to sales if you're not a customer. Okay, most of us just call it a CSR, a customer service rep, but we're having them do sales and customer service, truthfully. So it's kind of like this weird blended position that doesn't really exist in most industries, but it does in ours. And so just be careful, because some of your best people that just love taking income calls hate making outgoing. So if you make them do that, it's going to be like the worst horrible, most terrible thing, and like they're going to hate it. So just be careful on that. But I am saying it may make sense to have somebody actually making phone calls out. And what I would do is, since you have so many customers, like Anthony, for example, 25,000 plus or whatever, if you've tracked this well in your CRM, you can see at your highest spenders. Okay. So you say, okay, anyone that spent this amount or more in the last 2 years, I'm going to call them. So if you can segment that way, awesome, do that and decide what the threshold is. Anyone that spent this or over, we're going to call. Okay. And if you don't have that capacity, think about find a way in your CRM to track that, because it's such an important one. And you definitely want to make sure to reach out to your best spenders, especially right now. And so we also had someone say, hey, we're doing email blasts sent out to customers twice a month with COVID-19 care coupons. So they're doing TV commercials, radio ads, etc. Constant contact is something that is really helpful to be able to send out emails. You can use that. It's really cheap. And there's obviously other software options too. But the idea is like, not just let people know you're open, because that's one segment, but the other piece that we're talking about is letting your best customers know that you're open, because that's different, right? That's different. And longtime customers, if you can track in your CRM who's been your customers the longest, some of you probably know them by name, right? But reaching out to them. And another idea I had is, when you do, have extra masks and extra sanitizer and gloves and stuff, and offer to bring them out. Hey, Mrs. Jones, we're on the way. We'll be there in 30 minutes. I've got some extra masks and sanitizer and this and that. Some of you may have it, some of you may don't. But if you have it or have access to it, amazing value to just say, hey, would you like me to bring you some extra? I mean, that's a big deal. And I bet you no one's doing that.
You know, Jeremiah and Bill, if I was to make phone calls, it would probably be to property managers and people who are used to giving me more than 1 or 2 calls a month, to make sure them, like you said, they're not actually spending the money with me, but they are actually referring me to clients. And then the managements are spending the money with us. And so we've reached out, we've made a few phone calls to some of our biggest clients, like you said. And that was a good suggestion, because that, the property managers, bring in a lot of calls every month. So that was a good suggestion that,
Yeah, and so the other idea, Anthony brings up a really valid point. I saw Bill nod his head as well. Your raving fans. Call them.
Yeah.
Do you know who they are? Some of you may, and some of you may not. Some of you may not realize who's referring you all the business. And that's a whole different tracking discussion, right? And sometimes it surprises you. Like, who referred you? Tom. Who referred you? Tom. Who the hell's Tom? Right? I don't even know who Tom is. And so finding that out is good, right? And hopefully you've already done that. And if you haven't, do it. But just don't do it in the first conversation when they call you. Hey, how'd you hear about us? Talk to them about the other stuff first, take care of them. And then at the end of the call, that'd be a good time to ask that. That's just a quick tip for call takers. But your raving fans are definitely who you'd want to call too. And some of you may have tracking mechanisms in your CRM to count how many referrals they've given you and reward them. Some of you may not. You may want to think about that. Send them a little referral fee, or send them something that they love. If they love lollipops, send them lollipops. That's a really great idea. And additionally, you would want to call them too. Those are personal phone calls. Email and letters and stuff are cool. But how many of you just hate opening your inbox sometimes? And how many of you just hate opening the mailbox unless you know a package is there from Amazon or something else, right? You're like, And so that personal phone call is kind of really the only people calling out right now are collectors,
And do you call your people, like the sub-zero maintenance people that you've sold to in the past? Do you call them in the next year, or?
No, because, we probably have serviced in the last 3 years 5,000 sub-zeros.
Yeah.
So when we do a mailing, we're doing a mailing in about 2 weeks, that we're sending out 10,000 postcards, and then we'll repeat it in a month from that, and then in another month. So, with our customers that have sub-zeros, besides the 3 emails that we're going to be sending them in the next 3 consecutive months, we also are doing postcards to the same people. There are also buildings we know in Manhattan that have only sub-zeros in them. And so we bought the list of them buildings and who lives in them buildings. So we're mailing to them too. So altogether it's 10,000. But and we won't start that until another 2 weeks. We'll send the postcards out. But what I did do already is, because you know what, it's funny though, by being out of work, which I haven't been in work for now, since this started, being out of work, I'm able to look at the business from the outside than to be in the middle of it every day. Mm-hmm. So what we are doing is we're really setting up, positioning ourselves for when it's time to come back, and we're going to come back stronger. But we did do this every direct door mailing, and I did that last week. We sent out another 10,000 postcards to different routes, different zones, different cities. And the funny thing is, I never knew this, but I found it out, was that if I pick certain zip codes to do this every door direct mailing through the post office, I can go to Facebook and say, I'm going to do this zip code, and I'm sending out to them. Can I get, could you allow me to, I want to do a Facebook ad to that zip code. And what happens is that you could actually advertise just to one zip code. And so they start seeing this sub-zero special, and then they get the postcard, and then they can continue by retargeting them. They continue to see the sub-zero Facebook ads, and you send them postcards, because we'll send out the postcard 3 times. We figure you can't just send out a postcard one time and expect to get business from it. You have to keep hitting the same people. And at the same time, while we're hitting the same people with postcards, they'll also, when they go online, they go to Facebook, boom, they see our ads. And everything is uniform. The ad looks like the postcard. The postcard looks like the landing page that we're sending them to. You understand? So everything is uniform, and you'll see what happens. That's all.
Well, building your brand.
That's it. We'll see what happens.
That's why I got to give you, like, technicians. They have to wear their uniform. They have to, they can't put their concert hoodie on over their, your name, and, So even out in public, they're, client stock. They got to see it everywhere.
That's it.
Hey, I want to. We're getting toward the end here, so I want to be respectful for everybody's time. See if there's any other questions. Someone just shared a thought of saying, "Hey, we're actually video troubleshooting to customers that don't want you in their houses." So that's something they're doing. That's a little tough to pull off at a high level, but if you have something set up, you may want to experiment with that. They're talking about it. They didn't say if it's working really well or not. They just commented on it as an idea, it looks like. But just the idea of, like, if they don't want you in their home and they are a current customer or a past customer, possibly considering saying, hey, let's do a video chat. Let me see what you got. It's a little tricky that way because you run into a lot of different kind of issues, but some of you may be able to pull that off. And what I've actually seen in a few situations is they start to realize how tricky it is and say, hey, you know what, just come on out. But the fact that you spent the time to do a video chat and at least look at it ended up landing that deeper realization that, hey, you know what, I don't want to get into all this. But you could also do that just to provide service as well, or provide value as being willing to do that. I don't know most dealers that talk about that or mention that at all. The last thing I want to say, I'll give you guys both an opportunity if you want to share any final thoughts, but the last thing I want to say is right now, every action you take is crucial. It kind of always is, but especially during something like this, the more actions you take to improve and better yourself and your people, the better off you're going to be when it turns around. I just saw Governor DeSantis meet with Trump, and then I heard some comments after about what he's doing for our state in Florida. It's awesome, right? We're in phase 1, and we're already set up to jump right into it. They reopened our beaches. Everyone's being smart and staying away. People are smarter than we give them credit for, I think, a lot of times. But I do want to say this. There is hope, and there is momentum, and stuff is starting to gain of turning things around. And so you really still have a short window to train them more, improve them more, build them up more, reward people that are giving you hope more, and just dig deep. And everyone that's digging deep and showing up, make sure that you're thanking them. You know, it's even important for your office to say, hey, Tommy, I know it's hard. I know you're out there. You're putting yourself on the line. Thank you. I appreciate it. Right? Just letting your office thank your technicians, and just understanding that relationship of the office without the techs are liars, because they made a promise that they'd be there, but if the tech doesn't deliver, they're a liar. So they're keeping the office staff honest, and the techs rely on the office staff, because if there's no job board full, it doesn't matter how great a technician you are. So just understanding that they're working together and getting them talking and thanking and appreciating each other is a really powerful thing. Training them, coaching them, mentoring them, spending time with them, especially right now, is crucial. And then Bill, one thing I noticed about you that's really amazing is you're constantly not just improving your business and your outlook on stuff, but you take care of your body too, right?
You look at there.
You want to mention that right now too, because health, you know, and Anthony can tell us as well as anyone, health is crucial. And he fought through something really powerful that just kind of takes it away, and you have no ability really to stop it, but you do have the ability to fight through it with your mind, with your heart, which he did, showed up with courage, right? And then he found a way to get back. And so that's like a cool Rocky story, you know, in New York instead of Philadelphia, right? And it's just one of those things. But if both you guys just want to talk about real quick, physical fitness, mental fitness, and emotional fitness, and maybe one quick thing or two quick things of what you guys are doing right now. Bill, if you want to go first, and then we'll finish off with Anthony.
All I can say is, like, I'm in this business 30 plus years, and I never enjoyed it more than I do right now. It's, 10 years ago, I was ready to walk away, just close the door, turn off the lights, and never look back. But it's like, part of my turnaround has been, like, there has to come a point in every day where you're done with work at a reasonable hour. You're done with work, and you put it away, and you have to celebrate something every day, whether it's like a glass of wine or ride your bike in the park or whatever, plant a flower. You have to do something every day. And however small, and that little kernel just turns everything around on that.
Awesome. Thanks, Bill. And Anthony?
Well, I was out for 18 months, spending 35 weeks in a hospital in Manhattan. And so I was just getting back to going in 2.5 days a week, and then this virus hit. So I've been in the house for 8 weeks already. But the only thing I could say is that, I'm excited that this will be the first PSA convention in September that I'll be at. And, I will be doing the marketing presentation. And so it'd be the first one in 3 years. So I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to Jeremiah sitting in on your class also. So I hope I'll see you there. And I know I'll see Bill there. I know that.
This is a snooze fest.
What's that?
This class is a snooze fest.
Jeremiah has a lot of energy.
I appreciate it. It's in my backyard, I believe. I think it's in Orlando this September. Yeah. So I can't not be there. Randy will come down and corral me and not let me get out of it. I love being there. It's a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys. I know there's a lot of really great guys and gals out there who have been on the call, who jumped on and off. We had a really great attendance. I want to thank everyone and remind everyone, hey, anything can happen at any moment to turn everything around. No matter how bad or bleak or horrible it seems, all it takes one thing, one moment to turn the whole thing around, and it's all beautiful. And so hang in there, but not just hang in there, like do everything you can every day and really go for it. And I'm telling you, it will pay off. And when this thing flips and turns back around to normal, you'll be so much further ahead of the game. I appreciate both you guys. Thank you for everything you do. We're going to do another one of these on Friday. I'd obviously like to invite Bill and Anthony back on to jump in and participate if you're able to. Bill will definitely be there. Anthony, would love to have you there as well. And we look forward to seeing and hearing from everyone there as well. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Have an amazing rest of your week, and hopefully we'll see you Friday. And if not, go get it. Go get your market share. Be safe, everyone. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
So long.